Black Ops 4 Zombies, let's talk about it. I've obviously today on the 19th of April, because that's when I'm recording this video, I actually was gonna make a video on the rumoured multiplayer stuff, but I was browsing through the source, which is Matthew Harris, UK on Twitter. I'll put his link down in the description, credit him fully. I was scrolling through his leaks, and he's actually put something up for Zombies, and obviously we're a Zombies channel, and I want to dive into this a little bit more than the multiplayer stuff, because even the multiplayer stuff is super divisive right now. It's dividing the whole community crazily, okay? I do want to jump into the zombie stuff, because I do enjoy the zombie stuff more, and I think we should just talk about this, even if it's just for a few minutes, okay? Don't worry though, I'll be breaking down the multiplayer stuff and reacting to it and tell you guys what I feel about the multiplayer stuff, along with what you guys are saying on Twitter, a little bit later on as well. So 2 videos today and a stream, so quite a bit of content. However, let's jump into the zombie portion. So I'm going to flash what I'm reading on screen right now, so you guys can read it with me, and then we're going to break it down and talk about it after it, what my feelings are about it, you know, and we'll go from there basically. So he says, next I'll be talking about zombies, and of course, after that crazy claim that Blundell will be leaving after Black Ops 4 concludes, there will be at least 2 maps to launch with Black Ops 4, and both of them will be more ambitious than any Call of Duty title to date, which is no surprise really. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry, I started breaking down without finishing it. As pretty much everyone has heard by this point, one of those maps will be Mob the Dead. We've basically been saying this since day one, but it won't be Mob the Dead that you know. Again, we've been saying that since day one. It takes place in the real world and will unfortunately be played by the Tranzit crew. So not Original 4. Kind of sad about that, but interesting to see the Tranzit crew back nonetheless. Sorry, I'm breaking down again. God damn it. Just read the stupid thing. Yeah, they're back, he says. The story of the map kicks off exactly where the comic books end. The Tranzit crew emerges from the pods on Alcatraz Island and will then have to fight their way off of it. This all takes place in Monty's perfect universe, and the Tranzit crew were never supposed to be in it. Okay, so we're going to break it off there. There is a little bit more, but we're going to break it off there and just talk about this little portion real quick. So, crazy claim that Blundell is leaving after BO4. We're going to talk about that slightly at the end of this video. I don't really know how to feel about it. We'll see what happens. However, let's jump into the real meat of this leak here. And by the way, I just want to say, even though I'm covering the leaks, respect Treyarch, really great, okay? Really highly. I just want to cover this stuff because I find it interesting, and I don't want to harm Treyarch or their game in any way, okay? I always try to put a positive spin on this thing. I never try to view them as a negative, sort of on a negative influence. Yeah, anyway, just want to say that. Anyway, there will be at least 2 maps to launch with Black Ops 4, so that's normal. So we're going to have the pre-order bonus map and then the main map, on disc map, whatever you want to call it, and both of them will be more ambitious than any Call of Duty title to date. So that is like a buzzword, isn't it? They always say, oh my god, this Call of Duty is going to be revolutionary, it's going to be the new thing, it's going to be very ambitious, oh my god, you know. So obviously, whoopie-doo, that's nothing really new. They always say it every single year. Pretty sure Shadows of Evil was ambitious, and what was the other word that they used? Can't actually remember, but they used another word. As pretty much everyone has heard by this point, one of those maps will be Mob of the Dead. So again, Blundell at the end of BO3 had that interview, and he said Mob of the Dead will be returning, because obviously it didn't show up in Zombie Chronicles, and everybody was like, hey, what are you doing? Where is it? Okay, and he said in this interview that we had another reason for Mob of the Dead not being in Zombie Chronicles. It's going to come back in a story aspect later on, and as everybody predicted, it's probably going to be the pre-order bonus, or it might even be the on-disc map for BO4. Now I'm going to talk about that in a little second, but yeah. But it won't be the Mob of the Dead that you know. Again, not surprising, okay? Not surprising at all. I think it would be a stupid mistake to just bring back Mob of the Dead as Mob of the Dead. It's it's got to come back in a different way. It's got to be bigger. It's got to be greater. And it definitely sounds like that's going to be happening with this. So interesting to see that. Okay, here we go. It takes place in the real world, which we'll get into later. It's not as in like our real world, if that makes sense. It means something different when he says that, but we'll get into that in a little second in the second paragraph here. And unfortunately, will be played by the Tranzit crew. Guys, you know what I'm saying. I just keep me away from Martin. I'm happy, boys. Okay, Misty, Russman, that other guy, Stu, can never remember his name. But yeah, not a surprise. Well, it is a surprise actually. I was kind of expecting the original 4, but if you read the second paragraph, by the way, this is spoilers. Probably should have said that. I'll probably flash it on screen. The original 4, it would have been cool to play Mob of the Dead as the original 4, but reading down in the second paragraph, it actually makes sense that the Tranzit crew are coming back. So let's continue. So unfortunately, we'll be played by the Tranzit crew. I think that's a good thing. The story of the map, so this is the meat of it, kicks off exactly where the comic books end. The Tranzit crew emerges from their pods on Alcatraz Island. So I do actually have the comics, but I didn't open them, okay, because I want to keep them in their pristine condition, okay. So I think this is issue number 6, right? It's super dusty, good lord. Yeah, so this is issue number 6, and apparently at the end of this, the Tranzit crew end up in pods and they land on Alcatraz Island. So there you go. There's that, I guess. So the Tranzit crew lands on Alcatraz in some sort of pod. I don't know what that is. And then they will have to fight their way off of it. So Tranzit crew on Alcatraz have to kill zombies to escape Alcatraz. Nothing really new. Apart from obviously Tranzit crew and Alcatraz. That's the newest thing that we've seen so far. Next, this all takes place in Monty's perfect universe, and the Tranzit crew are never supposed to be in it. So he talks about this a little bit later as well. So basically what this is obviously Monty's perfect universe is after Revelations has happened, okay? So once Revelations Easter egg has been completed, Monty gets his perfect world. He goes, hey, Primus, get the hell out of here, you know, and scatters them across wherever he scatters them. Or no, he puts them in an endless loop, sorry. What I mean, he puts them in an endless loop, and we get the whole premise bracket storyline, right? But then Tranzit crew come in and be like, sad, you know, and that's the whole thing. So Monty's perfect universe is basically the events after Revelations, and the universe after Revelations has happened, okay? And the Tranzit crew were never supposed to be in it. Okay, good. Moving on to the second paragraph. So this is when we get into the real meat of the story. They are the final link to the universes of old. So obviously, the Mob of the Dead, no, not the Mob of the Tranzit crew, that's who I'm looking for. The Tranzit crew and the original 4 characters are a different thing from Monty's perfect world, if that makes sense, okay? So Monty's perfect world is over here. Hello, Monty's perfect world. Whoa, look at it shine. It's so bright. Tranzit crew and original 4 are over here. Original 4 were in Monty's perfect world, but Monty's like, nah, bro, go over here. So they're over here. Tranzit crew is like, and they're now over here in Mob of the Dead in Monty's perfect world. Okay, so that's basically what's happening. That made no sense, but hopefully you're following me. The last thing, sort of bridging the gap between Monty. Between what Monty has done and what came before his actions in Revelations. Okay, so again, his actions in Revelations created this perfect world, and now Tranzit crew are basically screwing that up because they've come across from the old universe into the new one, and it's just like, well, bro, what are you doing, man? You're screwing it up, you know? They shouldn't exist, and with them comes corruption to the very essence of his universe. So basically it sounds like Monty is going to be like the guardian angel, okay, of this new BO4 zombie storyline, and basically the Tranzit crew are in here screwing everything up. So basically it seems like Monty in BO4 is definitely going to be a bad guy, right? Because he's going to be like, hey, what are you doing? Stop. Get out of my universe, okay? Whereas Tranzit crew are in here, we're going to read this in a second, are over here trying to save Primus and like, hey bro, come on, let's do this, you know? But Monty is always going to be working against us rather than with us, like in BO3. So we're going to see a shift in Monty, I imagine, which will be super interesting to see. I really hope Monty is in BO4. I imagine he will be, because it doesn't make any sense if he's not. But I don't know. We'll see. The universe around them begins to bend and buckle with the strain of them even existing there. The very stitching of the universe is made up of element 115. And this starts to go haywire, once more resurrecting the dead and opening gates to universes thought destroyed. So, opening gates to universes thought destroyed, that could mean a explosion of different things, okay? We could see the Apothecons return, we could see all sorts of new things happen. They could literally just go so far with this, okay? This is such a clever idea, okay? I really like this. So, let me break it down for you in simple terms. Monty's Perfect World. Transit crew in Monty's Perfect World, breaking Monty's Perfect World open. Okay, so it's now vulnerable. Oh no, look at me, I'm so vulnerable. Old universes over here are now like, oh look, vulnerable, right? So they're now merging with them and opening doorways again like we saw in BO3. But obviously at the end of BO3, Monty was like, I'm now shutting off the gateways. But this transit crew coming over has basically just reversed that, right? But don't forget, our original 4 are still stuck in that endless loop because Monty has banished them there, okay? They were Richtofen's ultimate fallback plan, which was super interesting when I read it for the first time. Really like that idea. So Richtofen was like, hey, Monty's going to trap us in this endless loop. Because obviously in the comics, Richtofen and Transit Crew were very like interlinked, right? That they've actually got an interlinked story in that. So it's nice that they're bringing stuff from the comic book and into the thing, right? Into the story. So, super interesting. And you'll play as them through the rest of the DLC on a quest to save Primus and can't say this word. Ultimus Crews? Whatever. From ultimate destruction. So, it sounds like Monty is going to be the bad guy in BO4. Transit Crew is going to be our crew for BO4. Primus, Ultimus, whatever you want to call them, original 4, are going to be the ones that we need to save. I imagine in some of the DLCs we'll probably have Richtofen shouting at us, being like, hey, my friends, do this. That was more like a Nikolai, but whatever. And then Monty's going to be like, no, don't do this, you know? Stop, you know? So, super interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm excited to see how this is going to proceed. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, he does talk about the second map or the on-disc map. I don't think it will be the on-disc map. I think the London map, which you can see because I put the paragraph up, will be the pre-order bonus. And then Mob of the Dead will be actually the on-disc map. I reckon that's what we're going to be looking at. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. It's probably going to be the other way around. But I don't know. Because the way that he describes London doesn't really sound like it's a fun map. It's probably just going to be another Shadows of Evil, you know, whoop whoop, yay, you know. We're obviously way more focused into Mob of the Dead, Transit, Ultimus, Primus, all of that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to read about London anyway. Meanwhile, I can't talk much about the secondary map. See, he says secondary, which interesting. Why didn't he put London first if it's the on-disc map? I don't know. London 1940s. Interesting. So we haven't had a London map before. I don't know if we've had a 1940s map. I think we have. You guys can let me know down in the comments if we have. It doesn't seem like much, and that's because it isn't. So that doesn't really fill me with confidence. A little bit worried about that statement because it doesn't seem like much, and that's because it isn't. Ugh. So I guess you could really describe Shadows of Evil like that, because it's just kind of a filler map. It's just kind of like, hey, look at this game that we've launched. Look at this cool new zombie map. Whoop, whoop. You know? There you go. It's to give new players a new experience, right? I guess. I don't know. But it's all I'm allowed to let loose on, and people already knew that London was a thing anyway. So he's not allowed to say that much about London. But we do have both of our zombie maps confirmed, or not confirmed, but rumoured here in text, black and white. So we'll see. We'll see. The next thing he gets onto about Treyarch as a team, Blundell, and all of that sort of stuff. I don't really know if I want to read it. to be honest with you. I don't think we're going to read it. It's just talking about how the team is getting strained. Blundell is seeing issues and its creative differences, blah, blah, blah. It's struggling. It's a very dampening down on the company paragraph, and I don't really want to put Treyarch in that limelight because they have a crap ton of pressure on them already. I think we should just focus on the zombie paragraphs, and we'll go from there. But if you do want to go see that third paragraph where he talks about the team, Treyarch as the team, and what's happening and stuff like that, I will link it down in the description along with all other sources that I use in this video. However, I do think that this is interesting. I think whatever happens, it's going to be a different turn, and I'm excited the Tranzit crew are coming back. I don't think they got explored enough in BO2. BO2, they kind of just looked at them and were like, hey, look at this new crew, whoop whoop, you know. But then they kind of just fell off at Buried, and then that was it, you know. I think with the comics and now BO4, they've got a lot more time to extend this crew and make it, you know, something that we love, like we love Primus and the original 4. And if they do that right, then who knows? Could Primus or could Tranzit crew actually take over the old original 4? I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about London and Mob of the Dead, Tranzit crew, and the whole storyline aspect of this zombie storyline down in the comments down below. But if you are hyped for BO4 zombies, then leave a like, subscribe if new, all that stuff down below. Also, social media links, Discord, all that stuff is also down in the description. I will be back in about probably half an hour to an hour with another video. We're going to be talking about the multiplayer leaks that happened today, and we'll see what it is. But anyway, I think zombies in this thing, if you don't read the third paragraph, which we haven't, I think zombies sounds very, very strong this year. I think it's going to be interesting. It's definitely a good story, and I'm happy that they haven't separated the BO3 storyline so much that BO4 doesn't link at all. I didn't want BO4 to be its own game in zombie terms, okay? I didn't want them to start from scratch, and it doesn't look like they have. They've kept a story flowing through, which Treyarch do so well, man. They do it so well, and I'm so happy. And it's going to be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in another video very, very soon. Subscribe for more BO4 content. We're still going to be playing this game. I don't care what they say. They could say, hey, BO4 is now all about rainbow ponies, okay, and I would still play it. Yeah,